of the greats. She's just like is one of the funniest people you can possibly meet and have the opportunity to work with. And also one of the She feels so much so that she does not need anyone, and that she should not be relied upon at all. And that's how she wants to live her life, and that's how she thinks she wants to live her life, which is cool. And I think deep inside of her, she's absolutely longing to allow herself to need and to be needed. And I think. I would imagine a lot of people can relate to that, To not stop living, and I just absolutely love it. Yeah. All the complications of everything that we like to simplify, and maybe not have the right amount of empathy for, perhaps, the difficulties that we don't talk about or we don't feel is okay to communicate about, and I feel like shining a light on those who are struggling, and that manifests in behavior that is rightfully so not okay, but to try and understand it more and understand that we're all human with our own stuff that we have to work through, and what does it mean to connect with one another and help one another.
Not everyone is meant to be a mother, and nor should women feel they have to be mothers to be have their life have meaning. Especially now, I think women are finally embracing that, and I think it's important. As a woman who chose not to have children myself, I love to have that conversation, because I never felt that I should or never wanted to, and I think it's a totally valid choice, and it doesn't make me any less valid as a woman. What they all three have in common is that they've lost their family, their nuclear family, their blood family. It's just shattered, and they are all sort of free-floating and looking for connection, afraid to connect. And I love the metaphor in this movie about gravity and what holds us here, what tethers us to the earth, and what allows us to go, and how important it is to find something to want to be here for.
It's easy to judge, the heroin addict on the street. It's easy to judge the father who, isn't really there for his kids, but the joy of entertainment and the joy of making film is that you can tell a story from the beginning to the end, and you can actually bring awareness to people that everyone has a history, and there's always a making to a villain, or there's always a making to an abuser or to a victimizer. At some point, sometimes they were victimized, and the beauty of it is that with Carolyn, I was able to take this woman who should be hated and just shameful and turn her into, by the end of the film, someone that people can feel compassion and mercy for.
I know. I was excited because it started from our show's writer, Sean Renner, who wrote and directed it. We have to learn a little bit more as far as expanding our definition of motherhood, expanding our definition of womanhood, and what it means to care. That, it's interesting, it's very complicated because Tammy's character, for example, and Alan's character, they both care equally but in different ways, and their motivations are somewhat complicated for why they want to mother. And I think that's reflective of a lot of women in our society today.
I wrote about a moment where I was rattled as a person, where the core of my understanding of mothers and how they care for their children kind of got flipped upside down, and I felt very shaken by that, and that's sort of where the story came from. So I think in spite of the fact that all this comedy made its way into the script and all these other things made it in, the core of the story for me was something that shook my gut a bit. And so I think it shakes other people's guts a bit.